Hello, I'm Sai Manisha Madhav. The master's thesis, Recapturing the Voice, explores the idea of weaving the symbiotic communities into the urban fabric. The thesis is divided in three parts. The first part explores what is livability and what are people looking for from a place to live and a place to work. In the second part, I will be exploring a neighborhood in the industrial corridor near Goose Island to understand the issues in the neighborhood and how can they be resolved to improve the livability of the area. In the third part, I will be exploring the design solution to improve the livability of the said area. Chicago is the third largest city in the United States. Its architecture and planning have inspired many cities all around the world. Like most of the cities in the US, Chicago is surrounded by urban suburbs and exurbs. Despite of being a big city, Chicago is shrinking in population. The rate of population decline is higher than the new births. But Chicago is not the only city which is experiencing this decrease in population. Many other cities in the US are experiencing a similar issue. To understand why people do not find the cities livable, I looked at what are the aspects that people like or dislike about the cities and suburbs. What is the kind of lifestyle that people pursue? These are quotes from some of the residents from Chicago or other American cities living in the urban and suburban areas about their personal reason to choose suburbs or city. People said that the suburbs have terrible mobility. It is extremely difficult to go around without a car. But suburbs allow you to have more space, which is good if you have a family with kids. In suburbs, you get a sense of community when you actually know your neighbors. But on the other hand, suburbs are too monotonous. Daily needs are too far away, and you have to rely on cars way too much. As a result, if you go out for a stroll, you will most likely end up in a parking lot. With the increasing housing demands in the suburbs, they have become more gentrified, crowded, and expensive. With city, the mixity in functions, people, and culture is interesting. There are more leisure activities, good public transport, but cities are considered more congested, crowded, and expensive. Both urban and suburban areas have their own positives and negatives, but can we mix the positives from both the spaces to create a working come living space? To explore this idea further, I looked at the city center of my own hometown, Pune. Like most cities in India, Pune does not have a central business district, but it has a combination of living and working spaces in the city center. If you see the map, you can see that the buildings on the periphery of the block are usually mixed use buildings with small shops on the ground floor. These shops usually sell the products which are required in daily life. The first floor of the building is generally office space. The floor above that is used as a residential space. The inner side of the blocks have residential buildings, and in the in-between spaces you can see small informal houses. This arrangement creates a mixity of functions and users. The commercial activities benefit from the road frontage, with residential use get the required privacy along with the proximity to their daily needs and the places of work. It creates an economic module where people from various economic groups depend on each other. The people living in the informal housing work as maids or helpers in the houses and the offices. The people from the middle class and the higher income class are the people working in the offices and the shop owners. It creates an economic module where people from different backgrounds work together and depend on each other. The diversity of users and activities makes this area active and livable for the residents. From these examples, we can see that a good neighborhood offers walkability to the daily needs and the workspaces. It has a lot of usable open spaces. It is safe. It has neighborhood community where you know your neighbors. It is affordable. It has diversity of residents and activities. It has usable communal spaces and connection with the nature. This brings us to the second part of the study. How can we implement these aspects in an existing neighborhood? To understand this, we will be looking at a small block in the neighborhood near Goose Island. This neighborhood dominantly has residential buildings with a few institutions and offices. Most of the residential buildings in this area are single family dwellings or two flat apartments. We can see from the map that the area in focus as well as the area around it has a large number of vacant abandoned plots. These spaces are usually between two residential buildings. These abandoned spaces create vacuum in the urban fabric, and this vacuum many times attracts unpleasant activities and users, such as homeless people, criminals, etc. These activities repel any other lively and positive activities and users. The map showing criminal activities shows a direct connection between the abandoned spaces and criminal activities. These activities not only make the space unsafe, but it also makes the street and overall neighborhood unsafe. To see the available open spaces in the neighborhood, we can take a look at the Nolly map of the area. It shows a plenty of open spaces in the neighborhood, but most of the open spaces are streets which are designed and dominated by vehicles. The rest of the open spaces belong to the backyards of the people's houses. These spaces are also being used for the cars as the parking. The remaining open spaces are the vacant plots which we just saw. The neighborhood does not have usable open public spaces. The grid pattern for the road provides a great connectivity and order to the city. It is beneficial for the cars rather than the people. People do not move like cars. Walking through the grid is monotonous and inconvenient for the pedestrians. As a result, people turn to cars. Can we use these vacant plots to create shortcuts for the pedestrians in the grid without disturbing the grid? From the study, we can see that one vacant plot affects the 8 neighboring vacant plots immediately in terms of safety, market value, and maintenance, and further, it affects the entire neighborhood. Utilizing this one plot helps the entire neighborhood, especially the neighboring plots. Therefore, a new use needs to be introduced on these plots, which will create a new opportunity for the neighboring plots as well as the neighborhood. The proposal is to utilize abandoned plots in the neighborhood to create affordable housing along with communal living and working spaces by dividing the plot into two parts. One part will be leased to the neighboring house owner to build an additional dwelling unit in exchange for financial benefits from the city, and the other part will be used to create community spaces such as collective gardens, community kitchen, working spaces, etc. Additional dwelling units are smaller independent dwellings with kitchen and bathroom. They can be attached or detached to the primary house. The owners can use these ADUs as an addition to the existing house or can rent it out for additional income. The vacant plots can be utilized in four ways. 50% plot can be leased to the homeowner to build an ADU and 50% can be the communal space. Two homeowners can lease 25% plot each to build their ADUs and 50% plot will be used for communal use. One homeowner can lease only 25% of the plot and 75% of the plot can become communal use. Or 50% land will be leased by two homeowners in collaboration to build one or maximum two ADUs. The communal spaces can host following functions: garages and workshop where people can share the space, materials, equipments, and the resources to repair the household equipments or build furniture or repair vehicles. It can create a platform to learn hands-on work and be more independent and explore your creativity. A community kitchen where neighbors can cook together and share a meal or have a barbecue or have a small party. Sharing even one meal per month can save a significant amount of energy and give people a chance to connect. It can have co-working spaces. Startups, students, or people working remotely are in constant search for affordable co-working spaces. People can rent out these spaces and share the resources. The communal spaces can include meeting area for the neighborhood. The neighborhood needs a meeting space where neighbors can meet up and discuss and solve the issues in the neighborhood. These spaces can also be used to host various clubs where people can get together and explore the topics they love. The community together can build a shelter for these activities, or the owners of the ADUs can build the shelters and rent it out for additional income. Many neighborhoods in Chicago, including this one, do not have easy access to affordable, fresh, nutritious food. Part of the communal space can be allocated for communal garden, where residents can learn about gardening and grow fruits and vegetables. Residents can either rent a plant bed and grow their own vegetables for a small token amount or grow vegetables together and share the produce. The social benefits of this proposal are: it can create affordable housing, it can generate affordable, accessible fruits and vegetables, it creates open spaces for public use, it creates diversity in the neighborhood, it prevents the neighborhood from becoming gentrified, it improves the safety of the neighborhood, it creates communal activities for the residents, which can create an active neighborhood. The economic benefits of this proposal are: the homeowners receive economic benefits for leasing the plot. The ADUs can generate secondary income for the homeowners. Renting the communal spaces can also create a revenue for the community. The improved neighborhood will increase the market value of the properties in the neighborhood. The political benefits of the proposal are it reduces the number of vacant plots in the neighborhood, which will reduce the criminal activities. The ecological benefits are that the communal spaces will share the resources, reducing the total use of resources. It creates awareness about fresh food and farming. The functions on each plot differs according to the location of the plot. The road-facing plot with mixed-use street front buildings on each sides have potential for commercial activity along with having an EDU. The commercial activities can benefit from the traffic of the customers for neighboring establishments. These activities can include farmers markets, weekend markets, or neighborhood markets. The same space can be used as a communal space for outdoor gatherings during the weekdays. A corner plot with neighboring residential building has accessibility from three directions, which gives it the potential to have communal activities as well as public gardens and ADUs. The third type is a plot between two residential buildings. These plots can create the pedestrian shortcuts. These plots can have communal kitchen, semi-covered meeting spaces, along with communal gardens in the front side and workshops in the rear side. It will provide a separate access for the workshops and keep the noisy activities away from the residences, which are usually in the front side. The fourth type is the road-facing plot with mixed-use street front buildings on the side. These are the vacant plots which got converted into unofficial parking lots. The traffic of the visitors and the connectivity to the vehicular traffic makes them ideal for temporary weekend markets. These are few of the examples of the plots having residential buildings on the either sides. These plots have communal functions such as vegetable garden, community kitchen, and outdoor eating area towards the street side, and workshop space towards the back alley. The workshop has outdoor space around it. It acts as a spillover area. The space can also act like a gathering space for the users. The pedestrian shortcuts passing through the site give the users a view of the activities happening in the outdoor meeting area and the vegetable gardens. To create a prototype for the ADUs, I studied the typical houses of Chicago. Each style of house has peculiar set of elements. By amalgamating these elements, a prototype design has been made for the ADUs. It is not a simple addition of the different elements, but rather an idea of how the elements can mix together for the purpose of the ADUs. The prototype one involved a bay window inspired by Greystone House to provide 180-degree view, a front porch inspired by the bungalow style as an outdoor gathering space, a roof with attic windows and dormers inspired by Foursquare House to create usable attic space. The prototype 2 involves large front picture windows inspired by raised ranch houses to allow maximum light into the living area, and a front porch as an outdoor gathering space. The kitchen and the toilets are placed in the back side of the houses. They are designed to have a common wet wall, which limits the number of wet walls and provides a flexibility for the future expansions. These prototype designs can be adapted to fit the location of the plot and the type of the homeowner. The views can show the quality of the interior spaces of these houses. These are the examples of the plots with commercial functions. The commercial functions can be placed towards the street side to invite maximum clientele. This example shows the possibility of plots with the unofficial parking areas. They can host markets on the weekends and be used as parking space during the week. Reintegrating the vacant plots help the neighborhoods on various levels. The ADUs create affordable housing in the area. It invites the users of varying age groups, diverse economic classes, races. It creates a diverse neighborhood community. The mixity of functions attracts diverse users throughout the day on the plots. Newly created gardens and the interesting shortcuts create aesthetically pleasing pathways for the pedestrians to move around the neighborhood. It promotes physical activity as well as it brings more users to the street. Having more eyes on the street can make the area safe. The markets create a platform for various small businesses. It can also create opportunity for the residents to make household goods and sell them for additional revenue. The gardens provide affordable fruits and vegetables as well as create awareness about nutritious food. The revenue generated from selling the vegetables and fruits can be used for good of the community. Communal spaces can create a space where people can talk about their issues and help each other. The vacant plots which made the neighborhood unsafe are the ones which make the neighborhood more active and livable.